The assembly guide for the 6-volt Shelby Cobra, and we're going to go ahead and start with the rear axle. A few things you're going to need before getting started. You'll need 2 chrome wheel covers, 2 wheels, the rear axle. These are tools that are used to fasten the lock nuts once you're done with the assembly. These are 2 chrome caps, 2 lock nuts, 4 metal washers, and that black piece is an axle sleeve. This goes on the opposite side that does not have the gearbox. It's basically a spacer. And also one thing you want to make a note of is in the 4 wheels, one of them is actually different. One has a pentagon shape that's cut out. It's very important that you make sure that goes on the same side as the gearbox assembly. If you don't, when you're finished assembling it, you will just hear the motor spinning, but the vehicle is not going to move. So we're going to go ahead and get started and begin to assemble the rear axle. The first thing you want to do is grab the rear axle, push this through the black gearbox and through the body. You don't have to worry about the length being even yet, that'll work out later. Grab the wheel with the pentagon cut out, push that through until you feel it lock in. Once that's finished, grab a chrome wheel cover, and the washer will go on the outside. And lastly, there is a lock nut that goes in the end. Once that's fastened, you just want to go ahead and pull on the axle at the opposite end. And that way it's tight on this side. And from there, you want to do the same steps. The other side is a little bit different because you don't have a gearbox, so the first thing you do is put a washer on. Next is the black axle sleeve. You're going to put another washer on that end. Next comes the wheel. From there, you want to grab a chrome wheel cover, the washer, and lastly the lock nut, and it will look the exact same as the other end. Once this is done, you can go ahead and fasten both sides with those tools. You'll have one at each end. Just go ahead and tighten down the lock nuts. And last will be these caps, and you'll see the small inserts that they fit into. Go ahead and push it in until you hear it snap, and you finish the rear axle assembly. Started with the front assembly for the Shelby Cobra. As you can see, we've already done one side just to save time on this video. Both sides are the exact same assembly procedures, so just go ahead and follow this example and you can apply it to the other side. The only things you'll need per side is 1 wheel, 1 wheel cover, 2 washers, 1 lock nut, the lock nut tool, and also the chrome cap at the very end. So let's go ahead and get started. The first thing you want to grab is the washer, because that goes on first, and the wheel. Next will be the chrome wheel cover, and on the outside of that wheel cover will be a washer, and you want to make sure that you twist it until you feel it lock into place. Go ahead and screw on the lock nut. Use the lock nut tool to fasten it until you can't move it anymore. And last, you'll put on the chrome cap, and you're finished with the front assembly. And now we're going to turn the vehicle over and continue the assembly on the top. Finish the bottom portion of the assembly and you turn the vehicle over. You'll see the only thing left is pretty much the steering wheel and the windshield, and also the tail that's behind the seat. These are what the 3 pieces look like. Your hardware pack doesn't contain the screw and the nut for the steering wheel. It's actually already installed into the steering wheel when you purchase the item. So you want to go ahead and take those out, and we're going to go ahead and install the steering wheel. You want to line it up with the steering shaft. There's a hole that goes all the way through. I'm just going to mess with it for a little bit. And once it goes all the way through, just go ahead and put the lock nut on the other end, and you can screw this down. Now, if there's any confusion on which side the screw goes on, there is one circular portion and one portion that has more of a hexagon shape, and that'll let you know that that's where the hexagon lock nut goes. From there, we'll go ahead and snap on the windshield. And you'll hear it lock into place, and the last part is that small tail which goes behind the seat. And there you go. You now have the 6-volt blue Shelby Cobra fully assembled.